Welcome to Masibambane Mining's General Induction. Masibambane Mining falls within the Middelburg Magisterial District. The mine is about 15 kilometers from Middelburg out on the R35. Commodities produced. Masibambane Mining produces bituminous coal for the export and local markets. Mining method. Masibambane Mining utilizes open-cast truck and shovel mining methods. Mined coal is transported by truck to the various coal beneficiation processing sites. Masibambane Mining health, safety and environmental policy. Masibambane Mining aims to establish and maintain a safe, healthy and environmental compliant operation. All activities will be conducted in compliance with legislated requirements and in accordance with accepted industry practices. After completing the general induction, you will receive the following on-the-job training as required: mine license and authorization, site-specific induction, on-the-job training at your workplace, and training on SOPs and COPs relevant to your workplace. Emergency procedures. Whether you are an employee, contractor, or visitor at Masibambane, it is of utmost importance that you understand the emergency procedures before entering the site. During site-specific induction, you will be informed of all assembly points and first aid stations. Visitors must be accompanied by a mine official that will assist them during emergencies. Please take note of the following. Emergency contact numbers are displayed on notice boards. Fire extinguishers are available in all areas. First aid boxes are available at demarcated areas, and assembly points are located and clearly visible and will be communicated with you during site-specific induction. Legal compliance. Duties of the employer. Ensure overall safety of all employees on the mine. Ensure adequate supply of health and safety equipment. Staff mine with skilled, competent and experienced employees. Draft codes of practices as required. Provide training, assess and respond to risk. Rights of employees. Employees have the right to a safe and healthy workplace. Employees have the right to information regarding health and safety. Employees have the right to training with regard to health and safety. Employees have the right to leave a dangerous area. Codes of practice, standard operating procedures, instructions. A code of practice is a legal document drafted by the employer from a guideline issued by the DME. A safe operating procedure is drafted by the mine to assist employees in working safely on their day-to-day tasks. An instruction is issued by the DME and/or the mine manager. Instructions are legal documents and must be adhered to at all times. Instructions are displayed on notice boards for a period of time, at least 2 weeks, in order for all employees to take note of it. You need to familiarize yourself with the content of these documents as far as applicable for your work on the mine. You must conduct a risk assessment before doing any work on the mine. If you are not sure how to do any task or activity safely, you must ask for it to be explained and demonstrated. If you cannot put the required controls in place as identified in the risk assessment, you must stop the task and report to your supervisor. Remember that according to Section 22 of the Mine Health and Safety Act, you are responsible for your own safety and the safety of your fellow workers. Risk assessments. Risk assessment is the process whereby the hazards of a task, job or situation are identified. Risks are assigned to these hazards. The hazards are then put in order of seriousness or rank. Controls are put in place to address these hazards and eliminate or lower the risk in order for the work to be completed safely. Daily mini-risk assessments are conducted prior to shift or as required. No work at Masibambane mining can start without a risk assessment in place. Health and safety training. Health and safety training is an ongoing process at Masibambane mining. Our employees are our greatest asset, and by providing health and safety training, we ensure that our employees are safe. Part of training, but also a legal requirement, is the conducting of planned task observations, PTOs. Every supervisor must ensure that PTOs are conducted. These PTOs serve as a proof of competence and assist in improving our safety system. Standard operating procedures, SOPs, should be used as a reference when conducting PTOs. Health and safety representatives. All appointed health and safety representatives are empowered and obligated to partake in health and safety audits and inspections, identify potential hazards, risks and dangers, partake in investigating incidents, make recommendations regarding health and safety, conduct inspections, and attend health and safety committee meetings. Masibambane Mining 10 Critical Safety Rules. The following are non-negotiable. This means zero tolerance is in place and a breach hereof will or could lead to immediate dismissal. Critical Safety Rule 1. Always come to work drug and alcohol free. Masibambane Mining has a zero tolerance to drugs and alcohol. This means that if an employee tests positive for alcohol or a substance, it will result in disciplinary action. Alcohol and drugs pose a safety risk within the workplace. They affect an employee's ability to perform his or her task safely and efficiently, and he or she can endanger the safety of fellow employees. All employees, contractors, subcontractors, and visitors will undergo alcohol tests when entering the mine premises, and a random alcohol testing may be conducted during the day. Critical Safety Rule 2. Always conduct a risk assessment before starting with a task. Do not carry out a task unless you are trained and authorized to do it. Make sure every person that forms part of the task completes the mini risk assessment booklet to ensure all risks are identified and appropriate controls are in place. Make sure the task or activity is correct. Firstly, complete the 4 steps to safety. Is this a dangerous situation? Will I or anyone do anything dangerous? Are there dangerous tools or equipment being used? Am I authorized to carry out this activity? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you must stop the work and report to your supervisor. All team members must understand the risk and safety controls and sign the mini risk assessment. Make sure you have the correct PPE for the task at hand. Make sure you identify all the risks. Additional risks can be added. If you are not sure, please report to your supervisor. Make sure all the safety controls are identified and in place before the work continues. If you are not sure, please report to your supervisor. When conditions change, for example, it starts raining, the risk will change. Stop the work and review the risk assessment with all team members. When you move to a different area or different task, a new risk assessment must be completed. Remember that no work will be conducted without a risk assessment in place. Critical Safety Rule 3. Always wear appropriate fall protection equipment when working above 2 meters. Use of fall restraint or arrest equipment attached to an anchorage point must occur wherever employees or contractors are required to work at a height above 2 meters whilst outside the protection of an installed or fixed access platform with handrails. Complete a proper risk assessment and ensure that fall restraint equipment being used is inspected and approved. Ensure that the fall restraint equipment is correctly fitted and has someone to inspect it for you before you start to work. Make sure that you have a proper anchor point for the fall arrest equipment. Ensure platforms, scaffolds, and temporary structures are only constructed by competent and authorized persons. Prevent items from falling and causing injury to others. Critical Safety Rule 4. Never modify, override, remove, or damage critical safety equipment. It is against the law, MHSA and regulations, to damage or override any safety equipment, including and not limited to guards, tripwires, lockout devices, alarms, electrical devices, and PPE. Any deviation must immediately be reported and corrective action taken to ensure the safety of all employees. Critical Safety Rule 5. Only trained and authorized persons to conduct lifting and mechanical handling. Make sure that you are trained and authorized to operate lifting machinery. Make sure that the lifting device is capable of lifting the load and that the lifting equipment is inspected and safe for use. The load and reach must never exceed the capacity of the lifting equipment. Conduct a risk assessment with all employees involved. Ensure that the area is properly barricaded. Positive communication must be maintained with the lifting machine operator during the lift. Ensure that you and other employees are never positioned underneath or in the drop zone of the suspended load. Make use of guide ropes to ensure that you do not stand close to lifted loads. Critical Safety Rule 6. Always isolate and test for dead prior to working on energy sources. Only trained and competent authorized persons can perform isolations. Always follow the isolation procedure. Live testing as well as 22 kV switching must be authorized by the engineer. Identify all energy sources including electrical, mechanical, potential, for example gravity or kinetic. Make sure energy sources have been safely isolated and energy released before working on a piece of equipment. Check and test that the right equipment and energy sources have been controlled. Ensure that all guards and safety systems are put back when the work is completed. Critical Safety Rule 7. Never work in high-risk areas without authorization. The following are identified as high-risk areas. Confined spaces. Never enter a confined space without understanding and following the confined space procedure. Notify a responsible person before working in a confined space. Ensure there is a person who can instigate an emergency response. Dams, liquid storage facilities, and accumulated water that pose a drowning risk. Notify a responsible person before working near a dam or liquid storage facility. When working around water and liquid storage facilities, always wear a life jacket and never work alone. There must be a person who can instigate an emergency response. Blasting areas. You must obtain authorization from the appointed blaster to enter a blasting block. You must evacuate the area immediately when instructed by the blaster or blasting assistance. You may only enter a blasting area after a blast when authorized by the blaster or blasting assistance. High walls. A high wall is a vertical or near vertical rock surface on the advancing side of an open-cast mining operation. The crest is the top of the high wall, and you are not allowed to climb or walk on the crest of a high wall. There must be a safety berm 3 meters from the crest, and you are not allowed to cross it or come within 3 meters of the crest. A berm is a wall of loose rock constructed in continuous line to obstruct people, machinery and water from entering an area. A berm is constructed equivalent to half the height of the largest tire used in that workplace, with the express purpose of restricting any entrance to the crest edge. You are not allowed to sit or stand under or against a high wall. Maintain a safe distance or a minimum of 5 meters from any high wall, or as indicated in each area. In an open-cast pit, conditions such as undercutting, toppling failure, planar failure, wedge failure, and raveling may exist. The production foreman or supervisor will conduct daily high wall inspections to declare the high wall and the workplace safe before employees may enter the area to work. Only authorized employees working under close supervision may work in close proximity to a high wall after the area was declared safe by a competent person. Haul roads. Private vehicles and pedestrians are prohibited on haul roads. Pedestrians will only be allowed to walk on haul roads when authorized by mine management. Private vehicles may only travel on haul roads when authorized by mine management and escorted by a mine official. Mining equipment always has right-of-way, and speed limits as indicated must be adhered to at all times. Critical Safety Rule 8. Always seek and obtain clear approval before entering mobile equipment operating zones. Do not enter operating zones without approval from the supervisor to ensure that operators are made aware. Always stay 5 meters clear of moving machinery, LDVs included. Always wear high visibility clothes when entering mobile equipment operating zones. Never approach moving machinery from behind. Never use cell phones when entering mobile equipment operating zones. Always make positive contact with the operator before approaching. Make sure that the machine is switched off before approaching. In the open cast operation, the following will apply. LDVs must be parked in a safe designated area. The mine responsible person must be notified when entering the open cast area. The mine responsible person must be notified when pedestrians want to enter loading and tipping areas. And the operation must be stopped before allowing pedestrians in a loading or tipping area. Critical Safety Rule 9. Only operate equipment if trained and authorized. Only persons trained and issued with a valid Masibambane license are authorized to operate equipment. The operator must be trained and assessed by a person appointed by the responsible engineer. Operators must always have their mine license with them when operating equipment. Always adhere to traffic signs when driving on the mine. A pre-use must be conducted at the start of shift when operating in high-risk areas. The supervisor or responsible person must assist operators in conducting pre-use checks. The Masibambane pre-use check must be completed during the inspection of the machine. Red means stop. No machine may be operated with a red item. Green items must be repaired in 48 hours. All defects must be reported at the back of the pre-use in order for supervisor and mechanic to be informed. Lockout means isolate with ignition key, lock or another device. Operators must check for major oil leaks under machine and report it. A crack in a window is only a red item when it obstructs the view of the operator. It is of utmost importance that the fire extinguishers are properly checked by the operator at the start of every shift. The supervisor or fellow employee must assist in checking the lights for the operator. Operators are not allowed to let the machine idle, to exit it and walk around it. The operator must submit the pre-use to the supervisor to be signed off. Before an operator can put a machine in motion, he must use the hooter to warn pedestrians in the area and make sure there are no pedestrians close to the machine. A brake test must be conducted before the start of every shift. Communication with operators. No matter the size of the vehicle or TMM, the following procedure must always be followed by pedestrians when approaching vehicles or TMMs on the mine. Never approach a vehicle or TMM from behind. Always keep at least 5 meters distance from the TMM. Get the attention of the operator with a two-way radio or hand signal. Make sure that he has seen you. Allow the TMM to slow down and stop before moving closer. Indicate for the operator to isolate the TMM. Only approach when it is safe to do so. Never enter a loading or tipping area in the open cast without authorization from the responsible mine official. No TMM may be operated with an A-class hazard or red item. Critical Safety Rule 10. Always report injuries, HPRIs and dangerous work. Always report incidents and accidents to your supervisor immediately. Late reporting can lead to disciplinary action. All incidents and accidents must be reported and investigated. You have the right to refuse dangerous work. If work or a work area is dangerous, you can stop the work, extract all employees and report to mine management. Do not alter or move equipment at an accident or HPRI scene without permission from mine management. Occupational health. All employees are subjected to undergo a medical examination, which forms part of the employer's duty to ensure that a well-monitored medical surveillance program is in place. On termination of service, you must go for an exit medical certificate. The minimum requirements as set out in the COP for minimum requirements of fitness requires an employee to be physically fit to perform his or her duty as he or she has been appointed, without endangering himself or herself or other employees. Employees may appeal or dispute findings of unfitness to perform works according to Section 20 of the Mine Health and Safety Act. The following codes of practice form part of the mine's commitment to ensure a healthy environment for all employees. COP for noise, COP for thermal stress, COP for fitness to perform work at a mine, COP for airborne pollutants, and COP for fatigue management. No person may tamper with an occupational health monitoring device or refuse to wear it. These devices assist the employer to ensure a healthy environment for all employees to work in. Personal hygiene. A lack of hygienic conditions and hygienic lifestyle may have a serious effect on your own and other employees' health. Dirty overalls must be handed in at the mine laundry. Keep the ablution facilities provided clean and do not break any fittings. Try to keep your hands as clean as possible when touching, eating, or working with food. Only eat in designated areas and keep the areas clean and tidy. Environmental. Masibambane mining is committed to minimize the impact of operations on the environment and maximize the prevention of pollution caused by activities on the mine. Masibambane mining will identify the environmental aspects and impacts associated with its activities, products and services and ensure the management thereof in a responsible and effective manner. Every line manager at Masibambane will ensure the effective management of their area of responsibility and communicate significant changes or events that can have an impact on the environment to mine management. All employees, contractors or visitors can contribute by doing the following. Report any spillages or hydrocarbon material, oil, grease, paint, etc. Do not litter, save water, and use designated waste management bins. Security. The main functions of security are to protect physical and material assets, protecting vital and vulnerable areas, investigate crime, and access control and TMM compliance at entry. Movement of property. Apply for a gate release. The gate release must identify all items and be signed. Contractors need to supply a tool list. Personal belongings need to be declared when entering the mine premises. No exceptions will be made. Access control. Clock cards, temporary or permanent, are issued by mine administration and must be on your person at all times to ensure positive identification. Visitors will be issued with a visitor card by security during the visitor induction to make identification of visitors possible. In order to enter high-risk areas of the mine, employees must have completed full induction and site-specific induction, completed the mine license theoretical test, be in possession of valid driver's license or certificate, have the license signed by the engineer and license card issued by mine administration. Prohibited at Masibambane mining are any firearm or dangerous weapon, unroadworthy vehicles, alcohol or prohibited substances, and children and non-employees. Masibambane mining is committed to continuous improvement of the safety management system. Please assist us by reporting any deviations immediately and by providing us with suggestions or recommendations for a safer work environment.